Warning, some material may be inappropriate for younger viewers. Welcome to the Storytellers,
Here we discuss movies, books, and games.
and all things stories. I'm Nate,
And I'm Brian.
and in this episode, submitted for your consideration, a conundrum. What do you do when you dislike a book, but are still aggravated at the movie adaptation because it didn't follow the book? Brian, give us a rundown of Ready Player One.
Okay, Ready Player One is basically a retelling of Willy Wonka, set in a virtual world, basically, where the creator of this virtual reality video game world creates an Easter egg hunt where whoever finds the Easter egg hidden in the world inherits his fortune. It's the basic premise of the movie.
Yep, it's kind of like the Matrix. They upload into the Oasis. It's
Yes.
virtual reality. They wear haptic gloves and suits and visors. Although I did notice that like some people have like a treadmill kind of thing, the elliptical like they move on, and then other ones just sit. So I wonder how that works gameplay wise.
Yeah, I think the ones that sit have controls, probably that move them around, my guess.
Well, we both read the book,
Yeah.
written by Ernest Cline, and it's basically nostalgia, the novel. It's got so much nostalgia it would make Stranger Things blush, but the movie has even more
Yes.
nostalgia crap than the novel does. They use some of the same stuff. So what's some of the same stuff they use in the movie and in the book?
Some of the same stuff they use. The big thing that the one thing I really liked in the movie is they use the Gundam at the end. I know that's the thing they use.
In the book, isn't it like Ultraman or something?
Well, they use Ultraman at the end, but the Gundam is in the book. It's just one of the 4 players at the end have a Gundam.
Right.
They use Mechagodzilla against them.
Mechagodzilla's in the book.
Yes. They use the DeLorean from Back to the Future. They use the Serenity from Firefly.
Which they use DeLorean a lot in
Yes.
in the movie. In the book, he has several different vehicles.
Yes, he has an X-Wing. He
Has a couple Star Wars vehicles.
He has the Serenity. And he owns his own planet in the book too. So I mean, it's a little asteroid.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot more space stuff in the book,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of space, like outer space, in this.
No.
It seems like. So our main character is Wade Watts,
Yes.
who I like the name and I like the concept of the name. His dad thought it was like Peter Parker or Bruce Banner. It's a superhero, a secret identity.
Clark Kent. Yeah.
Right. I think that's a neat idea. I like that. In the book, they're all high school students they have a planet that has basically, it's like every mile's a high school.
It's called Ludus.
Ludus.
Yeah.
And in that story, the key is hidden in Ludus,
Yeah.
which is based on a Gary Gygax module of Dungeons and Dragons from the 70s.
Yeah, because the basic quest is basically you have to find 3 keys, right? So in the book, there's a key, then you have to find the gate, and then beat the gate, then get the next key, then beat another gate, then get the next key, and then beat the final gate. In the movie, it's just basically gain 3 keys.
Yeah, there were some gates it started with like when the challenge. So Holiday dies, and so whoever finds the 3 keys and wins the challenge and finds the Easter egg gets his stocks in the company that owns the Oasis.
Yeah.
And the villains, IOI, want to control the Oasis, so basically they can ad share it and make money, make revenue through it that way, and make it so poor people can't play.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, they're enslaving people who own debt to them by making them work menial labor jobs in virtual reality to pay for their existence, but you never get out of bondage because they charge you for your upkeep and stuff too. So like you're just basically spinning your wheels.
Yeah, they're called indents because they're indentured servants, basically.
Both in the book and in the movie, they are literally mustache twirling villains.
Yes.
They have no depth to them whatsoever.
Yep.
Although I do like the actor that they got to play Sorrento.
That's Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, he plays a good villain, and like he just like has that perfect. Like as soon as I seen him, I was like, that's exactly what I envisioned from the book. It looks like a complete douche.
I really haven't seen him play a hero because he was in Rogue One as Krennic.
Yep.
It's another movie he played the bad guy in.
Yeah, I think he's typecast in that role.
Yeah.
He's either like the main villain or the next underling.
Yeah.
You know, because in Rogue One he was like the underling to Vader.
Yeah.
Or to even Tarkin, really.
He was the victim of that terrible pun. Don't
choke on your aspirations, Commander.
Exactly, that terrible line. But yeah, he's very enjoyable in the movie because they basically make him gutless, I would say. Would you call him that in the movie?
I find it interesting. Well, here's something interesting about him. I call him a mustache twirling villain, which is true, but he almost has more of a story arc than the protagonist. Because his story arc is that he wants to get things done. Meanwhile, his company is like trying to undermine him in some way, and he has to rely on putting orders down to people who are either incompetent or just mess the job up. And so eventually it gets to the point where he goes from being just giving orders into taking matters into his own hands at the end.
Yeah.
So we have this, I'm not saying he becomes brave, but he becomes, proactive as opposed to just giving the orders.
I thought desperate. That was the word I used, or at least I think of when I seen him at the end of the movie.
I agree. I'm not saying what he did wasn't out of desperation, but the point is that his character gained agency where he had none before at the beginning. So, I mean, what's Wade Watts' story arc? I mean, here's my opinion of the character from the book. He is a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
Okay? He does things with ease. He's a write-in for the author. It's just the whole story is a power trip fantasy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, in my opinion, he really has no arc other than he goes from poor to wealthy and to get the girl.
He doesn't hit too many obstacles along the way. Let's just say that. I think the only obstacle he really hit was he got delayed in the book for a while, and his best friend H, who's we'll talk about that character later.
Well, there's lots of character swaps. So in the book, he gets captured by IOI and gets sent to the camps.
But he does it on purpose.
He does, but in the movie, it's reversed.
Yes, it's Artemis, whose name is Samantha.
So in the Oasis, he falls in love with this girl named Artemis, who is like a big streamer, and like she's YouTube famous, right?
Yeah.
Is what she is. He's a follower, and he bumps into her while looking for the first key.
Yeah, she actually found the first key first in the
she's
book.
Right, she's been trying at it for a while.
Yeah, he stumbles upon it because he thought he was the first person to find it. He actually gets the key on his first attempt. He's trying to leave, and she comes into the Tomb of Horrors, which is the
Gary Gygax module.
Yes.
So let's talk about the differences in the first key real quick. So in the book, it's a dungeon crawl.
Yeah.
You have to get through this maze and fight these monsters, and then at the end is a joust machine, which is an old 80s arcade machine.
Yes.
That you have to play against the Lich.
Serac, yeah.
Yeah, which is an undead wizard.
Yeah.
And if you lose, he disintegrates you.
Exactly, basically, he fights you.
But you can't win. Like, I don't think anybody who couldn't win the game, you lost. He'll kill you.
Well, Artemis kept beating him barely in the book. She says every time I lost the game of joust,
she ran away, I think.
She said I barely survived.
Right.
So
I don't know. things work differently in books than they do in movies and translation, but I just like the concept of this kid like looking over and like seeing this raspy old undead thing. Then they're playing joystick to joystick, playing Joust. And I don't know if any of you played Joust. You have like this stupid little pixelated bird thing that jumps and flies through the level, and you're just trying to hit your opponent before they hit you. That's all there is to it.
That's it. Yeah, you basically want to be higher than them, and it knocks them off their bird.
I don't know. It's just kind of ironic.
Yeah.
Like you have this like horribly powerful creature that can kill you with a spell, but here you are at joysticks.
Yeah.
And so Wade, or Percival in the Oasis as he's known, beats the Lich first.
Yeah.
And then he gives a tip to her on how to beat it.
Yeah, all because he likes to be the second player. He has to play on the one side of the machine.
Right, so you can use that to your advantage.
Exactly.
In the movie, it's a race.
Yes, it's a car race.
Which it's more than a car. It's like a car race / demolition derby. There's all these traps and like boulders falling down and swinging like balls and chains, and the T-Rex from Jurassic Park and King Kong and
yep.
It's
like Hot Wheel tracks where you jump in and stuff like that.
It is like Hot Wheels.
So
if you get to the end, King Kong eats you basically, or you can't be faster than King Kong is the problem.
Yeah.
And so, both in the movie and the book, it's been 5 years or so since the quest started, and no one can figure out what to do.
Yeah.
In the movie, it's a little bit different because they've known about this race for years, and no one can beat it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing that I was a little bit disappointed, because the whole idea was he found the tomb when he thought nobody else knew about it.
Right.
It wasn't public knowledge to everybody.
Right. And it had like a sense of like Indiana Jones, like adventure, going through the tomb, like doing this stuff. Like it was a real chance for you to kind of focus on just the one character.
Yeah.
And because he beat it. He didn't even tell his best friend H.
No, because they believe in figuring out stuff themselves, basically.
Right.
That's they do what's called, they don't want to clan up.
They don't want to clan up, so they're friends, but they're not that close to friends.
Exactly.
But once he tells Artemis the secret, he tells H, and then H tells Sho and Dato, the two Japanese brothers.
Yeah, in the movie they do that.
Right.
In the book, H figures it out himself because the thing is on Ludus, and he knows because Parzival or Wade can't get off Ludus because he doesn't have enough money to teleport off the planet.
Right.
So H figures, wait, it has to be somewhere
to be on Ludus,
on that planet. So he finds it himself, basically.
The race and stuff that they replaced all that with is somewhat exciting, I guess, but it's also kind of lame that like all you have to do is go backwards, because he figured out Holiday didn't like rules, and so they watched all these archived videos, and Holiday says something about he wished he could go to the past, go backwards, put the pedal to the metal.
Because Bill and Ted did it?
Because Bill and Ted did it, right?
Yeah.
Who was that actor that played?
That is, oh my God, I know who he is. Just blanked on it. I can tell you.
It is.
If I look at the back, I'll know who it is.
Mark Alliance? Mark
Rylance.
Mark Rylance.
Yes.
What else is he in?
He played in that BFG movie with Steven Spielberg as the Giant.
Didn't say it.
He also played in Dunkirk as the man who sails his ship across with the other ships. I know you're not a big war movie fan.
No, I'm not, but I feel like I recognized him for somewhere. His Halliday reminded me of Dana Carvey.
Yes, everybody says that.
Why is that? What is that?
He just did a Garth impression. That was his thing.
Like, you should just hire Dana Carvey if you're going to do that. It would have been. He's probably the right age.
Yeah. I think you need somebody like that, because it's not just the Garth. There's a little bit of more heart to it than Dana Carvey would have came off more jerky.
I don't know. I liked his character. It was all right.
Yeah. And his partner was Simon Pegg, played Ogden Morrow.
Being American for a change.
Yep.
Which his American accent was okay.
Yeah.
It was a little off-putting, but whatever. I can't do a British accent. I find Simon Pegg somewhat off-putting in general, just because it's just like, anytime he's in a movie, I'm like, oh, it's Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
It's Simon Pegg being Simon Pegg. Like, I don't think that he's an actor.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, he's good at, like, the comedies that he's been in, you know. The
Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead and that stuff's fine, but like when I see him in other stuff, I'm like, oh, it's Simon Pegg being Simon Pegg. It just kind of takes me out of it. That's me. So he goes backwards in the race, and like they're underground, it's like they can see like the behind the code.
Yeah, he can look above them and see what everybody else is doing, but which is weird because he's driving backwards, but they're all driving towards him. Like somehow it got swapped around. I have no idea.
Right, I noticed that, and first I was like, oh, is that some weird continuity error? And I was like, no, it's like Pac-Man. You go one side, not the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, it's a video game, no big deal. That part was kind of cool because you could like see how like the T-Rex is loaded up into the play area,
Yeah.
and then how like when King Kong comes,
He's like looking down.
But I think that he knows that he's there.
Yes, he's mad that he got by him.
He's mad that he got by him. And so so he speeds backwards in the DeLorean, and then like his trap door opens up, and he comes up at the finish line basically.
Yeah.
So if you take this secret away, you can't lose.
Yeah.
And the road's only big enough for one car, so whoever's down there first is gonna make it, from what I could see, or just following the track.
Yeah.
So he gets the key, and then he gets the clue to the next challenge.
Yeah. And then Artemis does, because she's seen him go backwards, because she was looking at her rearview mirror, and he tells H, and then H blabs it. And one little subtle hint to one of the characters is Shoto, when he wins the race, his car's on fire, because secret, he's like an 11-year-old kid. So he doesn't know how to drive, so his car's on fire from crashing it. Because it's a straight shot, so I don't know why his car would have been bashed up unless he couldn't drive backwards.
He wasn't that young in the book, was he?
He was 13 or something like that. In the book.
I thought he was a teenager.
Yeah.
Not that there's that much difference, and I don't really care. I just thought that was a different change. Let's talk about H for a minute, who's this cyborg ogre thing.
Yes.
Who is Percival's best friend. I can't stand that voice. It's hard to understand.
Yeah.
I watch all movies with subtitles, pretty much, if I can. And if I hadn't had them, I wouldn't have any clue what he was saying half the time. The voice was just like really gravelly and pitched weird. Yeah. And I know it's because that
she's trying to disguise.
Yeah, it's really a girl, but as an audience member, if I'd seen that in the theater, I think I would have had a hard time understanding them.
Yeah. I didn't have too many problems for the most part. There were a few words maybe here or there. Originally, though, they were going to actually have the actress just talk in a deeper voice, which would have been very off-putting.
I don't know. Let me hear it. I would like to hear it and just see.
I know they tested it out, and they said the computer voice was better, from my understanding. So
I would have just hired a different actor to be
like ADR.
I would have hired a different actor to be the avatar.
Yeah.
And then her show up in person later on.
Yeah.
Makes no difference. You can't tell.
Yeah. Now, I think it's important to note that we've been talking a lot about the virtual world, but it's basically two different worlds. You got to understand, this is way in the future.
2045.
2045. It's dystopian. People running out of foods. Wade lives in a place called the Stacks, where everybody's trying to get as close to a city because there's wastelands in America. So they stack trailers on top of each other using...
Which they don't bother to show.
In the movie?
Yeah, not really.
They don't show the fact that it's like wastelands because he doesn't travel in the movie.
I know, but I just think as an opening shot, it would have helped the audience. Camera over, there's nothing, and then you come to the city, like Fallout.
Yeah, because that's another major divergence.
I think the world building is a little sloppy.
Yeah, because in the book, he actually lived in, I think it was Oklahoma City.
Yes.
And after certain things happen, he then travels to Columbus.
Well, after he wins the key, he also gets all this money, and he gets corporate sponsorships from different people.
Yeah.
And his place gets blown up.
The IOI, yeah.
IOI blows up the Stacks. which they can do because they have a bunch of money and no one fucking cares, apparently.
Yeah.
Although it seems like a contradiction in this movie. I'll tell you why, because of what happens at the end.
Yeah.
But so he loses his aunt in the explosion. In both the book and the movie, it seems like it's not really a setback for him.
Well, in the book, she's a monster, basically, I would say.
She's definitely mean. She's definitely more mean in the book.
Yeah.
And it's been a year since I read it, so I'm not. It wasn't like I just read it yesterday, but it almost has no effect on him in the movie.
Yeah.
Granted, it's not like she was nice, but this is like the only physical person he has in his reality, right?
Exactly.
So she gets exploded because they are trying to stop him from. He refused their deal to join the company.
Yeah, he actually was in the book more sad about his one neighbor who lived at the bottom of the stacks, who was an elderly lady who would talk to him, than he was about his aunt.
Who's in this movie.
She's in this movie.
And they don't kill her.
They don't kill her.
and they don't have a relationship. So it's like...
she says, "Oh, life keeping you down." That's all she says to him. And then
at the end, she shows up at the end and be like, "Oh, we know what you did." Blah blah. I don't know. It's just like, ugh.
She should have been dead because she's on that stack. She should have been blown up.
I just don't like characters that are in there have no impact.
Yeah.
You're wasting my fucking time.
Exactly.
Come on, Steven, get it together. So they just have him start out in Columbus in this, as opposed to that's the thing, is this is where I think the book is better, is that he flees because they're after him, and he goes to Columbus and rents an apartment, changes his identity. He basically he buys something online that gives him a new social and a new a fake picture and he erased Wade Watson's existence.
Exactly.
Everybody thinks he's dead.
Yep.
And that's an important part to the story, I think, because then because of what happened, he's dedicated even more to finding the egg and stopping IOI, and basically he becomes a fat, depressed schlub in his apartment.
Yeah,
in his apartment.
Yeah, he actually does not leave his apartment for months.
Months.
He has
He's growing out of his haptic suit because he hasn't moved.
He then installs the exercise software that gets him back into shape, where he has to exercise so much. Which they go into these weird details about stuff like that.
Well, yeah, because his the only friend he has is Max Headroom.
Yes, he has Max Headroom as his personal assistant,
right.
Which is just a computer program. And he actually goes so far for his haptic suit to fit properly. He even shampoos with a shampoo. It makes all of his hair disappear. He has no eyebrows or eyelashes or anything. So he's sacrificing his own personal appearance to win this contest and to be in this virtual world, which I think is one of the main themes, is that you get stuck in this virtual world and it becomes more important than the real world.
Which is also the theme of this movie, but it doesn't come across very well, does it?
No, in the movie I think they focus more on the actual real world. He's out of it's it goes by too quickly, I think. It's jumps. There's big jumps where in the book they took their time to make you understand he was stuck in this.
Well, there's this section. We're jumping ahead here, but there's this section where he's fleeing from them because of the explosion at his house, and there's a scene that's in the real world for maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And about 5 minutes of it, I'm like, boring.
Yeah.
So fucking boring. Let's move it on.
Yeah.
That's the script's fault. That's the world building, because the world building that's here, I don't feel that things are that bad.
Yeah.
Because when I'm reading the book, and granted, I picture what I picture, and you picture different things.
Yeah.
And to me, it's more like Blade Runner, right?
Yeah.
It's dark, it's dreary, everybody's poor, there's nowhere to live, people are just stacked on top of each other. It's a miserable, depressing place.
Yeah.
And the opening of this movie is I don't want to say it's colorful, but it's brightly lit, and it looks like it's Technicolor, bam! And I'm just this does not say drab to me.
No. It's very sunny out.
Yeah.
They're talking about people were detonating nukes and stuff.
Right.
In the book.
I think it's I think it's tonally inconsistent, both with the novel and in itself.
Yeah.
Because we're told like all this bad stuff's happening, but we're told we don't really get to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have this little underground resistance. They're like kind of like a little shanty town in tents or whatever,
Yeah.
but we're there for literally like 2 minutes.
Yeah, and that's only in the movie. There's no
Correct.
real resistance in the book.
No, that was made
in
up.
the real world.
No, that was made of whole cloth. Yeah, so there's some tonal problems there. Also, in the movie, he meets her halfway through.
Yeah.
In the real world, the whole point of the book is that he has fallen in love with somebody whom he does not know.
Yeah.
He's never met her. He laid eyes on her one time in a video feed of her apartment in Canada. And that's the only like picture of her he has. He doesn't know anything about her. So he never meets her in the flesh until the very end
Of the book, yeah.
like the last few pages. And so like that's the reward. And it's not even like, oh well, we love each other. It's like, well, let's see if we can make this work.
Yeah.
After all the stuff we've been through.
And I think part of the problem also is with her character is that she's supposed to be very self-conscious, but she's supposed to have that birthmark that's supposed to be a deep purple.
Yeah.
And they lightened it up.
That birthmark is bullshit, folks. Let me just tell you.
In the movie.
Well, it's a port wine stain.
Yes.
Is what they call it. And I've met many people that have this. And it can be, there's degrees to where it's a very faint, like raspberry, to like this huge purple tumor, right? There's multiple ways that it could go. But most of this movie, it's like a shadow.
Yeah.
Like, if her face is just turned the right way, you don't even notice it. And I'm like, why? Your makeup department failed.
Yeah.
If that's what it's supposed to look like. Because she's not, I mean, like what she tells him about, like, you know, like, she thinks he's being nice to her because of that.
Yeah.
And all the dialogue is lip service because I don't believe that you really feel this way.
Yeah.
Because number one, you don't look like what I think that you should look like from the book, or how, like, I don't know, like I've seen cases of acne that are worse than what this girl has. It's not a big deal. She's still pretty, and she's still like very confident, right?
Exactly.
And that's fine. I like a confident character, but she's supposed to be reserved and bashful because that's why she's made this big personality for herself online, because she's afraid to be who she really is.
Yeah.
And that doesn't come across in this movie at all.
And I think the characters are supposed to be also, they're so different in the virtual world compared to the real world.
Yes.
Like Wade couldn't even talk to a woman in the real world.
No.
But he can do it fine in the virtual world. You know,
well, hell, they meet, and within meeting, he goes to kiss her like right away, practically. And that's not the character in the book.
That's the opposite of what
way opposite. It takes a long time for him to build up enough confidence to even, I think at the end of the story is he takes her hand.
Yeah. They're sitting out in the garden
and just holding hands.
Exactly.
And that's how it ends. You know, nothing more romantic than that. That for him was a big step.
Yeah.
And here I am defending this book that I really don't like. It's not the worst book I ever read. I just think it's trite.
Yeah.
That's it. I think it's trite. It's cliche. Yeah. It's, you know, a fan fiction type book to me. It's, you know, 10 years, 20 years from now, no one's ever going to talk about it. Ever. Yeah. Or this movie, for that matter. I think it's just an okay movie. I'm not ready to get to the final verdict yet. I got some more bitching to do. So the second key, so they go to the dance hall.
Yeah.
Which is more or less out of the book.
Yeah.
Except for they've reduced Halliday's partner, Ogden Marrow, to
a butler?
Yeah, well, we don't know that that's him at the time. He's the robot butler who controls the Halliday archives.
Yeah.
But in the book, he has more of a presence. He's the wizard Og.
Yeah.
And he DJs this annual party at this.
It's his birthday.
It's his birthday. It's a discotheque planet, basically.
Yeah, it's a planet, and it's called the Distracted Globe.
Okay.
That's the name of it.
Where everybody dances on the ceiling.
It's like zero gravity.
Right.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be a perfect sphere, and you can walk around the outer edge, and then when you want to dance, you jump into the middle and float through the air.
Now, refresh my memory. This character who's like the orc henchman thing that Sorrento hires.
Oh, IROC.
Yeah, IROC.
In the movie, it's IROC, which is played by T.J. Miller.
Yeah, that's like completely made up, right? That's not.
He's in the book, but he's like a minor part of the book. They've expanded upon that character a lot.
Okay, I didn't remember any of that, so I was like, I thought it was made up.
In the book, he's just this person that's in their chat room, because H has this chat room called the basement, where he can invite people in to talk. And for some reason, he invited this guy named IROC in, who's basically, as they call him, a poser. He says he's the Gunter, which is what all these people that are searching for this Easter egg are called. And he doesn't know anything, basically. Because the whole idea is to understand pulp culture to get you through all these challenges. And he's the one that actually, in the book, lets Sorrento know that who he is, basically. He kind of spills the beans about...
Well, see, let me stop right there. Because there's an example of why I have a problem with the movie and the adaptation, because you said it's all about understanding pop culture.
Yeah.
That's what the book's about.
Yeah.
What does the race have anything to do with pop culture? It has nothing to do with... Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first challenge.
Yeah.
Well, the challenge of the book was knowing things about Gary Gygax and Joust, which is pop culture.
Yeah.
This race is just some made-up bullshit that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
You just had to be lucky enough to fall upon that clip of how they're saying that, and then take a leap of faith to even guess that that's what it was.
Yeah. Where in the book, it's based on, hey, you need to know Dungeons and Dragons. You know, you need to understand Latin, because the clue says you have a lot to learn in order to earn, which, you know, ludus is a Latin word for learning, basically.
Yep.
So that's how he understands it's on ludus. So, also, the book is more about, because I would say the book's more about video games in general.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
I would say so.
There's very little video game stuff in this.
No, yeah, the book's mainly, I think it's a good balance. It's mainly video games, then movies, and then probably lastly music.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the only, like, tangible, like, D&D is a tabletop game, obviously. That's, like, the only, like, thing that's not, like, a digital, you know, medium that's in the story, really.
Yeah, but I think it's because Dungeons & Dragons is your first step towards...
Living in another world.
Yeah, and also these video games that were built back then, these text-based video games.
Yeah, we're all based on D&D.
We're all based on D&D, and then that led to bigger video games, which then...
Well, yeah, because without D&D, there's no adventure, right?
Exactly.
Which is, you know, the video game that had the first Easter egg in it.
Exactly.
Which is true.
Yep, it is, and it's because Atari didn't want people to have credit for the games they created.
Yeah, screw Atari.
So...
Well, they drove themselves into bankruptcy, so...
Yep.
They got what they needed. The comeuppance. So, the second... They go to the... What is there to say about the dance club?
The dance club...
Nothing, really. They go there, they dance, he falls in love.
I think what it was is... To me, I think the story was stagnant at that point in time, personally.
It's boring.
And I think they...
It's boring in both the book and the movie, because they go there, and then he has this romantic connection, and...
She freaks out.
Yeah, and she basically wants nothing to do with it, or is kind of aloof about why... I don't think that she understands human connections, and he doesn't either.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's this typical tween, teeny bopper bullshit.
Yeah.
And then they get attacked by the Sixers.
Yeah.
Which in the book, it's supposed to be a non-PvP area.
No, it's PvP.
No, I thought...
They said that's why it's so popular, because it's in a PvP area.
Oh, okay, fine.
So I've listed the book multiple times. So
okay, fine. I'll agree with you there if you say so. Like I said, it's been a year since I read it. But the Sixers show up to murder them, and they get away without nearly a scratch.
Yep.
And same thing happens in the movie. Like, there's no tension.
It's released easily, because in the book, Og, it's his birthday. He's upset that they've crashed his birthday party, and he instantly destroys them, basically.
Well, same thing happens here. They escape by a Deus Ex Machina. They just have this thing. It's like, oh, nope. And I'm thinking, like, and I see him buy the cube.
Yeah.
It was $20,000. So if anybody can turn back time 60 seconds for $20,000, that's a lot of fucking power.
Yeah.
There's going to be people fucking with the timeline constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 grand's nothing. And when, like, they said that the Oasis is worth like he said Halliday was a trillionaire.
Yeah. 3 trillion.
Yeah, so $20,000 is nothing.
Yeah. So
I mean, the haptic suit that he bought was only 36.
Yeah.
A little bit more than that.
Yeah, I think the whole point of the club is to create tension between the characters so that they are separated. That's the only thing I can think of with that scene.
Oh, I don't disagree with you. My point is it didn't work.
Yeah.
There's no tension there, and I'm bored yet again.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why I got bored when they got to the real world.
Yeah.
Because the dance stuff was boring to me, and then almost immediately he gets pulled into the real world because she basically sends her henchmen to capture him.
Kidnap him. As you said, she doesn't want to be anything to do with him.
Right. So
then all of a sudden she had a henchman.
It's weird because she goes from being like, you can't tell anyone your real name in the Oasis. Yeah. And all he said was Wade.
Yeah.
Well, there must be millions of Wades, no big deal. But she goes from, I can't have anything to do with you, you're just going to distract me, to literally within, 2 minutes, the next scene, she's hired a guy to kidnap him and bring him to this resistance in this little tent shanty town in Columbus, which, like I said before, doesn't look nearly as dire as we're told.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, Detroit looks worse than RoboCop.
It does.
Detroit, in our reality right now, looks worse than this movie.
It's Columbus. That's the city they're in. Which brings me to another problem.
I also bet you there's neighborhoods in Columbus that currently now look worse than it does in this movie. It just doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, that's the other problem I have with this film is that it seems too coincidental that all of our characters are in Columbus, Ohio.
When it's a worldwide game.
Yes, because in the book, they're all spread out.
Well, the 2 Japanese brothers, they're not actual brothers, but they call themselves that, so I will too, live in Japan.
Yes.
They charter a flight all the way over here.
Yep. Artemis's character lives in Vancouver.
Right. She goes from Canada to the U.S., and I believe that H is driving around in that camper. Yeah,
she's in a camper because she's staying mobile because she knows it's dangerous.
Right. She stays mobile in case IOI figures out who she is.
Yeah. So, and she was in Pittsburgh in the book at the time where they all needed to get together. So she could get to Columbus pretty quickly.
And what ends up bringing them together is that IOI's murdering Gunters, and not just them, other people that like side characters that aren't really part of the story, and they all end up getting summoned to Ogden Morrow's like secret lair, like in the Pacific Southwest or something.
Yeah, it's in Seattle.
Oh yeah, okay. So they all go to Seattle, and he lets them use all his best gear.
Yeah,
which is better than anything they currently have.
Exactly.
Which gives them an edge. Let's talk about The Shining. This is my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
I did like this.
Yeah.
I love The Shining. I love the novel. I love the movie. Even though Stephen King doesn't, I'm able to, in my mind, separate the two, and I like them both for different reasons. It was nice to go down the halls of the Overlook again from a different point of view.
Yeah, did it give you chills?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it gave me chills when they opened the doors and you see the lobby.
Yeah, I got real excited. I did. I was like, I geeked out a little bit. I would say that was the only time that the nostalgia got me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is really kind of cool.
And when they came up to the typewriter, it's almost a shot for shot of Shelley Duvall coming up onto the typewriter to see all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. You know what I mean? It was like really, I don't know how to. I actually, after seeing this movie, went home and watched The Shining just to compare the two. Because I also love The Shining, obviously the book and the movie. So just seeing how they recreated it, which was all done digitally.
Was it?
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't like sets. They digitally recreated that whole...
Well, the camera work and the clarity of the actual Shining movie is so it would be so easy to put that on the computer and map it out, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, they had that to their advantage, and plus, like, the overlook is really well lit.
Yeah.
So they have all that to their advantage. So like, there was never a time that I was, I this is one of the few times, folks, that you won't hear me bitch about CGI, because it is in a digital world and it's supposed to be avatars. It's like World of Warcraft crap. So like, I get it. None of that really bothers me, even though I'm sure some of it's going to look dated very soon. But yeah, the scenes in The Shining, I like all the blood keeps washing down the hallway and like sweeps H away.
Yeah, and you have the picture of Ogden Mara, or not Ogden, but Holiday as Jack of the party.
I mean, it's a digital world, so I guess anything can exist anywhere.
Yeah.
If I had to gripe about it, I will, is that the elevators in 237 can't be on the same floor.
Exactly.
Because 2 is second floor.
Yeah.
So that didn't make any sense, because the blood comes out and he gets washed down the hallway, and then there's room 237. I'm like, that should be on the second floor. Why didn't they just have the blood like sweep him up the stairs?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a minor thing. It doesn't really matter, because once he gets in the room, like, the reality like is really breaking down in the Overlook Hotel, right? Like he goes through the bathtub and like falls into the hedge maze.
Oh yeah, because that was some clever editing to take out the nudity. But
I thought that too. Here's another little bit of disappointment. Yeah, they like, just like the way the camera is behind the ogre H's back, and it's like his shoulder and hand is like covering her boobs, right?
Yeah.
And so she comes up on him, but then like they do this thing where she rots with CGI instead of just using. I wish they would have had the main actress from the movie, because she was rotted, but also she had that laugh.
Yeah.
And that laugh just wasn't
the same.
Well,
the girls weren't exactly the same either.
No, I understand that.
They sounded the same.
They sounded the same, and obviously they appeared at the elevators as opposed to
the hallway,
being at the dead end hall. So, yeah, I'm fine with that. I just, we'll see. I have gripes about it, but I got excited.
Yeah.
But am I excited because of this movie, or am I excited because of The Shining?
Yeah.
The answer is, I'm excited because of The Shining, because it's a better movie. It's leaps and bounds better.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was fun that he fell through the bathtub and into the hedge maze. And then, because it was kind of like a callback to that scene that Kubrick did, where like we're watching Jack and walk the hedge maze, and then it pulls back and it's actually just a miniature in the Overlook Hotel. So that's kind of like a callback to that. And then they have the big axe, coming down. Yeah. And I did like the scene that shows later on when IOI goes.
Oh yeah! Oh, they're all now. We just have to pass the Shining Challenge. They're all screaming.
They're all screaming, like grabbing their faces. It reminded me of that scene when the elevator doors open up.
Yeah.
In Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
And just kill everybody.
Exactly.
It was like a jump gag. Like, and that part made me laugh.
Yeah. that part in. It's fucking Chucky.
Yeah, let's talk about fucking Chucky. So, most people know in a PG-13 film, you get one F-bomb.
Yep.
And Spielberg never uses it.
Yeah.
Very rarely. Actually, and a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
This being sort of a kids, family kind of type movie.
Yeah.
Were you surprised that was in there?
I was laughing. I didn't feel surprised. I thought it was hilarious, personally.
I was like, what?
It might be the best line of the whole movie, I think.
Yeah, so there's a big fight at the end. Somebody gives them like a power up and they throw it, and it turns out to be Chucky.
Yeah, here, use this little guy.
He's just like stabbing everybody, and like he throws it out of the DeLorean, it hits one of the troops in the face. He's like, it's fucking Chucky! It's like stabbing him. And I'm just like, well, we've already, up to this point, we've already seen Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Had, 2-second bit parts, and that's all this is. It's unfortunate that they were able to get the rights to Chucky, but no Brad Dourif.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if Brad Dourif got the voice in there, because the way things are going, I don't know if he's ever going to get that character again.
Yeah.
Now that we're getting this remake.
Yeah. But Chucky took out about 7 of them before he died.
He did. So they get the second key from The Shining, which is the Holiday's would-be girlfriend. They have to ask her to dance.
Yep.
And somebody in the book has rocket boots. I don't know who it is. Has a jetpack. And
a lot of them have rocket boots, but in the book, Artemis has a pair of magical Chuck Taylors.
Right, and I'm just
they give her speed flight.
Right, that's what bothered me about the scene is like they're in the gold room of the Overlook, which is the ballroom where Jack Torrance meets Lloyd the bartender, and the floor is caved in, and there's all these. It's like we see we go from The Shining to now it's like Disney's fucking Haunted Mansion, okay, and I'm just like ugh. Anyway, so she has to jump in all these floating corpses. Yeah. And like nobody has fucking jetpack or rocket boots or anything. I don't know. It's just
didn't come prepared. Maybe
it was supposed to be tension building for. I mean, no one's in any danger.
No.
Ever, really.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. That's the problem with the challenges. Other than the race, I would say, the race there was stakes because your avatar could be killed.
Sure.
And as they said in the movie, losing your shit means you lose your shit. They show the Japanese guy
jumping off,
about ready to jump out a window because he died in the game. He lost all his stuff. So
that was just footage from the Apple factories in China.
So
they had those nets outside the windows to catch people to fucking want to commit suicide because they can't take it anymore.
But so in the book, yes, there was the explosion of his house, but there's really no threat, I think, in the movie compared to the book.
I think there's very little threat in the book too. I mean, there's more threat in the book for sure, but like I said, these characters are still Mary Sue's that, like at least in the book, you know that like there are people, other Gunters, egg hunters, being murdered by IOIs.
Yeah.
So like there's
Daito gets killed.
Right.
In the book.
Yes. And so, like, there is a sense that, okay, one of our side characters has been killed. Okay, maybe there is a threat.
Yeah.
We get none of that here.
Yeah, because in the book, Daito, who's one of the Japanese brothers, was actually killed, physically killed. They found out where he lived. They broke into his house and threw him off his balcony. In the game, he froze, which means he was logged out. And the avatar died. They just thought his avatar was killed, but no, he was physically killed.
Right.
In the book, also at the end, Wade finds out because he's in IOI's computer system because he got captured that they had found out where Artemis lives and where Shoto lives.
Right, and they had plans to kill them all.
To kidnap them, make them win the game for them, and then kill them. So I mean, I think there's a little bit more threat because of that. Like they knew where they were in the real world.
I also felt like that whole like indentured servitude for debt slavery thing that's going on in the book is so much more threatening.
Yes.
You know, it's very like 1984 kind. You know, the whole book's that way. It's very dystopian and bleak, and he has to. I'm not going to go into all the details of it, but there's a very elaborate plan for him to get captured, get the information, the inside information from the company, and then escape. Yeah. Which takes weeks. Yeah. And they implant like a chip into your body, and like they know where you're at all times, and like it's very complicated. In this, they're like, reach up, you'll find a lever, and she reaches up, and sure enough, she takes the panel out, and there's a fucking release lever, and she lets herself out. Yep. And I'm sitting here going, okay. I'm not buying it. Like, in a world, like, you know what information technology is like today. Yeah. That could never remain a secret.
They don't have cameras in the pods either.
Yeah, there's no, like, their security is, like, there's more security at your local post office.
Yeah, because in the book, Wade has to actually come and do, like, the same routine every night over and over and over again. So they basically have a thing about him going to sleep, and he actually does what you do in a million movies. Oh, we loop the video, basically.
Right, which makes sense because he's on a routine, so it doesn't look any different than any other given night, right?
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's very complicated. It's like max security.
Yeah.
And here, it's just, why even have it in the movie?
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy for her to escape and just kind of, she's sauntering around the main villain headquarters, just kind of lackadaisical.
Well, that's another thing I had an issue with, was she was in the indent uniform when she escaped there. Next thing you know, she's
in an IOI
suit. Like, that was a big leap of faith that she...
Well, I mean, at that point, if you could just escape by the handle to your cells in your cell, well, all bets are off.
Where, like, in the book, Wade actually comes with a plan where he actually had a uniform delivered to his cubicle,
right,
which he could switch into, because he picked the cubicle that was away from everybody. He was like almost isolated, because he actually worked in tech support. I work in tech support. I understand, it's like a prison. So
just terrible. Yeah. Like, I hate that part, and this doesn't. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
So the third key is on Planet Doom.
Yes.
And the last challenge, which is adventure.
Yeah.
And that's just going to the dark place in the maze and during the game of adventure, not beating the game, but finding the Easter egg of the creator who made the game.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. But the IOI doesn't know that. They're cycling through games and trying to figure out what it is. They finally figure out it is adventure, but don't know, they beat it. They can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they have this magical orb that has put a force field over the castle, so no one can get in there.
The Orb of Oxivanius.
Right. Don't say that again.
Yes. And Sorrento hates this virtual world so much he doesn't even want to activate the orb that's going to...
or even know how it works.
Yeah, he's like, is there like a switch or
a on button? Yeah, he doesn't even care how it works, just so long that... Which tells you what kind of character he is. He just wants things done. He doesn't care how it happens.
Yeah.
He has no interest in how things work. Has no interest in the Oasis.
Yeah. So that's basically what it is. They have to have a huge battle. But I want to loop back real quickly to the second in the book, because we skipped over like what the challenges were there.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, it was, okay, go to the Tomb of Horrors, beat the Tomb of Horrors. Then you had to go to there was an actual recreation of Holliday's home world, his house, his place in Columbus where he lived.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to beat a video game there. You had to then go find the next key, which was, I think that was the Blade Runner one.
War Games.
Well, War Games was how he beat the gate.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he got done with that, he was given a thing with it was wrapped in foil,
mm-hmm.
which then folded into the origami unicorn, which led him to Blade Runner. He had to take the Void Calm test.
Right, and then to play Black Dragon.
Black Dragon, the video game.
Right, which gave him the coin.
Yes.
Which the coin is that...
The coin was given to him by playing a perfect game of Pac-Man.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he thought he knew... That's the only thing where he was wrong. He thought he knew where the next gate was. He went to a place called Arcade.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to... Yeah, okay. That's where he got the extra life coin?
Yes, where he got the extra life coin. In the movie, they just, hey, let's just flip it to you.
Right.
Over a bet. That was dumb to me. He actually earned it in the book. Played a perfect game of Pac-Man.
That was stupid too, because in the movie he says, "I'll bet you everything I got that, that Holiday never mentioned Kira's name again."
Yeah.
And he loses the bet, and the butler just gives him a quarter, and I would have been like, "Hey, dude, I just made all this money. Like, I think you're a little short."
Yeah. Yep.
Granted, the bonus life is worth way more, but no one knows what it was. So it's just like, I don't know. I guess it's, dare I say, one of those Spielberging conveniences.
And talking about the whole War Games thing, right? It's basically a challenge where you have to repeat the lines of the movie. So you have to actually know the movie and actually be able to do every line of Matthew Broderick's character.
Yeah, it's basically like playing Dance Dance Revolution, but with dialogue.
Yes.
It's all about timing and tempo, right?
So where are these games? I want them now.
We'd be good at it.
Yes.
But they didn't use War Games, obviously, because, let's face it, that movie, it's never been a popular movie.
Yeah.
It's just something
for me, I remember when I was younger.
it was big in the 80s, but, it doesn't have it's not The Shining.
Yeah.
It's like everybody knows what that movie is.
Yeah.
I've only seen War Games once.
I will say that I would say people from my generation and your generation know The Shining.
Yeah.
These new kids don't, which is another reason why I like the fact that they put that in this
Surprised
movie.
they picked it.
That they'll actually maybe get people to go watch a great movie like that just by saying, hey, there was this scene, let's go see what this is about.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably one benefit. Yeah. So, the whole point of switching characters and having Artemis locked up in IOI instead of him is because she's on the inside, now she can shut this orb down.
Yeah. Which...
it's just another convenience.
In the book, he programmed Johnny Five from Short Circuit to carry a bomb to blow up the wizard who was controlling the orb.
Right.
So,
I would have liked to see that.
yeah.
That would have been more fun.
Especially if he said Johnny Five alive when he did it.
Johnny Five alive, boom!
Not anymore. So,
Short Circuit. I haven't seen those movies in a long
Yeah.
time. So this big sloppy battle plays out. That's like, I don't know, any of these movies you've seen. It's just like Avengers Endgame.
just run around in a group.
It's a million CGI characters blaring at your face. You name a pop culture thing, it's there. You got Ninja Turtles. You got Halo. You got I think I've seen the Joker in there. Like there's just Masters of the Universe stuff. There's just, you name it, it's in there. You'd probably have to like, if you played it like frame by frame, you would just see hundreds of different, pop culture characters that everybody knows.
And there's two big mechs on the hero side,
Right,
which
there's
is
the Iron Giant and then the Gundam, which
Yep.
I don't know anything about Gundam.
I know a lot about Gundam.
I know what they are, but I don't know anything about them. I don't know what that one has a name.
That's the Gundam. I think it's the Gundam 00. I forget the exact serial number. It's from the first generation of show.
So yeah, the Iron Giant and the Gundam fight Sorrento and the Mecha Godzilla, which Mecha Godzilla looked pretty cool.
Yeah, he did.
It was cool.
I was very surprised they actually put it in there, to tell you the truth. I was like, I don't know if they'll put Mecha Godzilla in this movie. They may come up with something else.
Well, they got Godzilla's going to be big again, probably. They got this King of the Monsters movie coming out. I'm guessing that's why they did it.
Yeah.
Because that movie had to be in production already by the time they were, going through this. So I would guess that's why.
Yeah.
I don't know who owns Godzilla. Who's doing that Godzilla movie? Do you know? Because this is Warner Brothers, right?
I think so. I think Warner Brothers is doing it too.
I think that's why. But yeah, that looked good.
Yeah.
But yeah, they beat up Mechagodzilla and almost get killed doing it. Their avatars, and then Artemis throws some kind of grenade through the eye hole of the
mad ball.
mad ball. Throws the mad ball through the eye hole and blows up Sorrento.
Yeah.
Which doesn't matter because he can just pop in another avatar.
Yeah, which is explained in the book better. They all are basically the same avatar, the Sixers. So they have hacked rigs where people can just take over a certain person's avatar.
Yeah, that wasn't explained.
Which they said is cheating, but then in the book they also cheated at the end, helping feed them lines, which we'll talk about for Monty Python.
Oh yeah, there's yeah, they had the Monty Python thing where they had the, which is like it's War Games, Monty Python, and is there a third movie?
No, those are like two movies.
Yeah, they had to repeat the lines for. The Holy Hand Grenade was very lackluster in this movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just blew up a bunch of people.
I know, but why? I was expecting like when it blew up to be like Sanctus, something funny and ridiculous.
Yeah, or they say 1, 2, 5 or something like that.
Yeah, anything that's a callback to Monty Python or some kind of religious joke, like nothing. It just vaporized them, and it was kind of
Or if
I don't
it
know.
played, look at the brighter side of life, because it was bright.
So I'm about ready to wrap this up. What else do you have? I mean, I honestly don't have a whole lot else to say about it.
I'm just going to describe the challenges in the book. Like I said, he had to go.
Well, he went through the Tomb of Horrors.
Yeah, he went through the Tomb of Horrors. He beat War Games Challenge. He then took the Voight contest, which took him to. I think it was the one where he had to gather all the treasures. And play the whistle, which is from Captain Crunch, which is a callback to a hacker one of the
Right.
original hackers,
He used to play tones into the phone
using a
to
plastic whistle.
to make phone calls or to make free long distance.
Phone freaks, is
yeah.
what they were called.
Uh-huh.
Then after that, they had to. When did Rush?
Mm-hmm.
Where he actually played the song and got a clue that the Sixers didn't get because they just sacrificed the guitar because you had to make a sacrifice to the god of that challenge. So they just sacrificed the guitar. He played the song first, got a clue, and then sacrificed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was play adventure at the end. But he had to do a couple things before that. He had to play Tempest. And that was important because Tempest was Holiday's favorite William Shakespeare play.
Uh-huh.
Then he had to do Monty Python, and then he played Adventure. And he wins, of course.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that the ending in the book of Holiday is like, this is your world now. You can make it what you want to make it.
Yeah.
And then also here's the kill switch.
Yeah.
Which is the same in except for like in the book, it all takes place in the castle.
Yeah.
Like Holiday's like tower.
Yeah, and Holiday gives him these superpowers in the book. He's like, you can do whatever you want, basically. So he wishes his friends back into the game that had died. And then he kills all the Sixers using his new godlike powers.
Right.
So he became Neo for this, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, no sequel.
Thank God for that.
Yep.
In book or movie.
Yeah.
I don't hate this movie.
Yeah.
It's just, like I said, I told you before we started this podcast, I'll probably never watch it again. I almost want to say I'd watch it again just to see the Shining part, but I'll just watch The Shining.
Yeah.
I don't think it's terrible. I like the book. I think it's, it's one of the things that Spielberg's good at is just making popcorn flicks.
Yeah.
And that's what this is.
Yeah, I'm saying this isn't a movie for deep thinking. You know what I mean?
I can't even say it was all that exciting. I was bored in parts.
Yeah.
There are parts where it just really kind of slowed down, and then in some of the action stuff, there's too much going on, and I think that is the danger of CG sometimes.
Yeah.
I give it a solid C.
Yeah.
I think it's an average film that is going to be averagely remembered by anybody in 10 or 20 years. I don't think there'll be a reason to revisit this movie.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm a sucker for nostalgia, So I'll give it a B minus.
Okay, well, I can't disagree with you, and I'm okay with you going that high. Like I said, it's I can't even say that kids would enjoy it more because they didn't live through the things that we've lived through. So, like one of the things that I noticed is like a lot of the music in the movie is callbacks to older Spielberg films.
Yeah.
There's some Jurassic Park music in there. There's some E.T. music in there.
Back to the Future.
There's Back to the Future music in there, which he didn't direct. That's a Zemeckis movie, but he produced it. It's Amblin,
As for like the songs, there's
was
Van Halen.
I was disappointed. I was expecting more 80s music, weren't you?
There's Blue Monday, which is, I think that's more of a 90s song, right? It's right along the edge.
Yeah,
right?
it's on the edge, but...
And then Hall & Oates at the end.
What was the song?
You make my dreams
come true. Yeah, Hall & Oates. I do like Hall & Oates. Yeah. I feel like there's more music in the book that's talked about and mentioned than made it into this film.
That's one thing about the book that irritates me too. He lists all these things, all like rapid fire. He's like, oh, you like this music, this music, this music, this music, this music. I'm like, okay, well, I forgot the first thing you said because you're just randomly running off things.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's a problem with the book, folks. Listen, if you're... This is a young adult novel.
Yeah.
It's a teen, tweeny bopper, bullshit, pulp novel that you can read in a weekend that has very little substance to it. I honestly, listen, I read this book, half of it, while I was waiting in an office during jury duty. Okay? And it was barely a little more enjoyable than staring at the wall. Yeah. I don't think it's good. I think that it was sold on the nostalgia alone. Because like one thing about writing as opposed to the movie is you write about stuff. I ain't gonna pay nobody for all this. I'm just writing about it.
Yeah.
Putting in a movie, you got to have the rights.
Yeah.
So it didn't cost this guy or his client anything to write about this stuff. I'm sure the editor might have had some notes about maybe you should take this out or that out. But you're right. There's a lot of things just like it'd be like me just droning on about these are the movies I like. These are the kind of drinks I like. These are the songs I like. And like there's just pages of that nonsense in the book.
Yeah.
And like I said, all the characters have plot armor. Really, there's no stakes. And just like this movie, there's very little stakes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so C for me, B minus from you.
For the book?
Oh, for the movie,
yeah.
I don't even want to give it a letter grade. I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
I couldn't recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
If it's, it's the end times, and you've exhausted your library, and this is the last book on your shelf, give it a go.
Yeah. I'll give it a C. I'll give it a letter. I'll give it a C. I wish they would have.
You're kind.
Well, it talks about some things I enjoyed, and having somebody else talk about them, like I like them, was interesting. Like, how many books do you read nowadays that's going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons? You know what I mean? Or some of these video games that I played when I was younger.
Well,
so if it's nostalgia, it's nostalgia.
That's the thing. See, the first third of the book,
yeah,
that's where we leave the D&D stuff behind.
Yeah.
That part of that and that world building stuff was good.
Yeah.
And then it got into all this teen romance, sloppy, and I was way off.
One last thing, real quick. Where were the swords in the movie? They were talking about having swords in the book the whole time because it's hey, I'm a warrior mage with guns, and
yeah, they didn't talk about classes.
Yeah, all the stuff
or
that's video game
they talked about leveling up, but only in just like this is the world. Like they threw it at you real quick, then it wasn't talked about. Like it would have been nice in the movie if they had shown like a scorecard next to their avatar every once in a while. Go to like level 32, level whatever, because it is like D&D, and there are different classes and different magics and different abilities.
Yeah,
and,
I played World of Warcraft. I understand.
Right, so they didn't go into any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And, and here I am defending a book that I do not like.
Oh, sorry.
Why do you make me do this, Brian?
It's fun.
It's your fault. I don't want to defend this book, but there are some ideas in the book that are good ideas. It's just not an enjoyable read for me.
Do you think the love interest part kind of wrecked it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's me being older and cynical about romance, and especially high school romance, and just and it's like the two worst things, right?
Yeah.
It's high school romance, bleh, and it's online romance. Blah. It's both those things.
Plus, you have an older person writing about teen romance.
Right, and it feels that way.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
It's idealized.
It's idealized. It's out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
It's trite. It's cliche. It's boring. And the best thing going for it is the fact that at the end, they don't end up together.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, they fall in each other's arms and they love each other and blah, blah, blah.
It's like the start of something.
It's the start of something. Maybe we can make this work.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's a little, it's sweet, but it's not too sweet. They just hold hands and that's it.
Yeah.
They met each other. In this movie, they meet halfway through the film, maybe even quicker than that. First act, probably. And
she wouldn't have had that thought in her head. They've been making out.
Right, you're right. And yeah, they just jump right to the, oh, we oh, we can't, oh, let's do it. It's poor build up, it's poor character arc.
Yeah.
It's a mediocre movie from a crappy book.
Yeah.
That's my final say on it.
The writer and the screenplay person, it's Ernest Cline. So.
I've seen that.
So.
I've seen that. Well, he has this other book out there called Armada.
I heard it's garbage.
That's what I heard too. I will not be reading it or reviewing it. Anybody out there wants to let me know in the comments what they think about either of these topics, feel free to do that. Yeah. So that's our show for today.
If you like our content, please like, share, and subscribe our videos.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Brian.
And we'll see you next time right here on the Storytellers.
Come with me.